So I'm kicking my husband out after he asked for a DNA test on our baby. Here go the last of your stuff. Don't come back.
Don't swipe now. Come back here. Hey, ladies, did you know that paternity fraud is now a crime? Yeah, let's talk about House Bill 2689, because they locking y'all up.
18-year-old Tiana. Mr. Bell, you are not.
I knew it! Thank you! Thank you! I knew it! I knew it! I told you! I told you! He's a liar! No, he's a liar!
And I know who the daddy
I told
is.
you! I told you!
I know who the daddy is.
I think that the United States making DNA testing mandatory is stupid. I don't.
I can't agree with that. Swab his mouth, swab her mouth, swab them kids, swab. Make it mandatory.
All right, men, it's our time. Our time has come. Ladies, your time has come too. Guess what? Maternity fraud is now legally a crime, and if a man is forced to pay child support for a child that was not his, oh, get ready. Guess what, ladies? You now owe the entirety of all that child support back to that man. If a man gets asked for a paternity test and that child is not his, which, by the way, 30% of the time it isn't, if that man can prove infidelity, which means you cheated, you may owe the entirety of all that child support back. And if you cannot pay it back, you are going straight to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Ladies are now being held accountable for their actions. I feel like the female kind is going to absolutely despise this. The male kind is going to absolutely love this. By the way, this has already been held against men, so don't even try to play that.
I had two guys call in. They work at DNA testing centers. One guy had to quit. One guy still works there. He told me 40% of the children are not the man's child. 40%. 40%. He said 40%.
Somebody call Maury.
It's usually
make DNA testing
it's
mandatory.
It's two scenarios. It's where the woman, the person's getting a DNA test because the woman claims that is their child. Turns out it's not. The other one is where the parent is on the deathbed and makes a confession, or they need a liver transplant, blood transfusion, and the blood type. There's no way that can actually be the father. So then they find out because of medical reasons. You mean that's not my father? Then the father finds out from that way. He said it took such a toll on him that he could no longer do it because he would be sitting on the phone counseling the men and the grown children who these women falsely accuse. We see it on we see it on paternity court, but yet we say men need to be held accountable.
So I know this video gonna make the girls want to tussle with me, but I don't care. I think DNA testing should be mandatory at birth, right then and there. Not only is it very much foul to have somebody thinking that they are the father of a child and they are not. I don't care how y'all put that. I don't care what excuse y'all make. That's foul. But that's not the only reason I say that. These hospitals be mixing people babies up. So he might not be the daddy, but you might not be the mama either. So I think to save people 18 years of dealing with a foul baby mama, because usually women that do that be foul. You gonna get this man hell knowing this ain't his baby. It should just be a DNA test right there, right in there when a baby is born.
Unfortunately, the courts don't feel this way. If you are married, like for instance, my husband and I are married, and I was to get pregnant by another man, he would be responsible for the child support for 18 years, even though it's not his child, because we're married. That's the way the courts work. So messed up.
Okay, listen, y'all. So, as I'm supposed to be working, but anyway, I was on IG, and I seen a clip that it said that women may feel like their rights are being compromised because they're trying to come out with something where men have the right to get a DNA test as soon as the child is born. But what I'm trying to understand is, how is the women's rights being compromised when soon as the baby start crying, you filing for child support? How is your rights being compromised when you're requiring them to care for this child? Like, it's not making sense to me. The only people that would have a problem with this is these women, okay? And quite frankly, I feel like men should have a DNA. It should be automatic. It should be a law, okay?
I think we can see the fact why a lot of ladies do not like this law, because it suggests something about modern women and just how low down they can be, how they can just fraud and con a man to think that that's his child for the last 18 years and he has to pay money for that child those 18 years. I can see a lot of men and women welcoming this because it is time for modern women to be held accountable for their indiscretions.
Anywhere from 5 to 30% of the general population, men are raising and paying for children that are not theirs and don't know. According to the American Association of Blood Banks, between 25 and 30% of the males who are accused of being the father, they take a paternity test and find out they did not do it.
Are you for mandatory DNA testing at birth?
I am absolutely on record as saying that if we want to prevent the problem of having men challenge paternity later down the road, is then let's apply a proactive solution. Automatic DNA testing at birth would work to help two things. One, we would assure that the right parents were named on the birth certificate. Two, it would stop paternity fraud and take the profit out of paternity fraud.
But so many women's groups say this wouldn't be fair. You're acting like you don't trust the mother. Why do you think they say that?
It's a red herring. It takes away from the focus of, well, who's the one person who has all of the information about potential fathers or the paternity candidates? It is the child's mother. And currently, in most places, she has no duty to disclose that, well, wait a minute. Well, my husband's not really my child's father. My boyfriend is. Like, well, wait, lady. But you're married. You forgot?
Okay, right there, I was just wondering what his name was, and his name is Carnell Smith, and he's the founder of Citizens Against Paternity Fraud. Men need to get out there and get in touch with this man and find a way to support his cause. This man is out there doing the Lord's work.
That you were married? No, but thanks to no-fault divorce laws, she can get the house, the property, alimony, and child support, and then move the boyfriend into the house.
People, the system doesn't make it easy. So speaking of the system, what are you doing, or what have you done to help change some of these laws that are so unfair to men?
Well, it's actually unfair to men, women, and children. See, I'm the guy that's officially on record saying that every child deserves to know the truth about their heritage, their ancestry. And you can't do that when you only rely on verbal representations, just take somebody's word for it. Oh, yeah, that's your dad. Yeah, but he looks like the FedEx guy. Oh, no. Well, actually, it could be the milkman. Well, no, we no longer have a milkman, but here's the problem. I have been very instrumental in raising the public awareness on the issue of paternity fraud as a problem that needs to be corrected.
Memphis Representative Antonio Parkinson is sponsoring House Bill 2698 that would require DNA evidence proving paternity before a man signs a birth certificate for a child that may not be biologically his.
The state has been turning a blind eye to this by allowing people to sign blindly without any proof of DNA association to this child, which is allowing people to be guilty, or in some cases, of paternity fraud, which is a crime. It's only right and the moral thing to do, an ethical thing to do, to ensure that the right people's names that match their DNA is on that birth certificate. Anything other than that, you are stealing a child from a biological parent, and it's state sanctioned.
Well done, Tennessee. It's about time. This should go nationwide. But we need this bill pushed in all 50 states. Hell, it need to be pushed all over the world and worldwide.
On child support, and I never said this was my child.
This mound of paperwork shows a juvenile court judge ordered him to pay child support even before the birth.
I didn't do a voluntary acknowledgement. I didn't sign the birth certificate. All I knew is we legitimated the child in your name.
He took the child himself to get a DNA test and found the son he'd supported for years was not biologically his. He took the documentation to court. The judge wouldn't accept it, but ordered a new DNA test done that showed the same results. Probability of paternity, 0%.
You say there
DNA
is
test
no
should be
way
taken,
you are
and this is
Amira's
why.
biological father after finding a tape of your wife with another man, Mr. Fowler. You are not the father.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Brown, you are not the father.
It's sad to see that we need a law to protect men from liberated women. And this is a step in the right direction. I feel like we can all see that men need to be protected just as much as women. A lot of these ladies out here screaming about equal rights, you know, it should be equal across the board.
Yeah, she should be charged with paternity fraud. You know, of course, mom can't take responsibility and say, I slept with multiple men in 1 week. Sit those men down and say, one of you is this child's father. I don't know which one it is. Can we do a DNA test? Instead, it seems like she's drawing a name out of a hat. Maybe it's the one that makes the most money. Maybe it's the one that took her to Denny's in the morning instead of leaving her cold in a bed with the wrong phone number. Mom knows who she slept with. Alleged dad does not. It is her responsibility to be honest and have some sort of moral compass to where she could do what's best for her child, not making that child believe someone else is their father, and doing what's morally right toward this man instead of just pinning a child on him because he seems like the best candidate. He tried to step up, be responsible, sign the acknowledgement of paternity. Therefore, it is his fault. And these aren't only just one-night stands. These are long-term relationships where alleged father, had no reason to believe anyone else would have fathered the child when he had been in a relationship for 5 years with this woman, and she was just really good at covering it up. But thankfully, thanks to women like you, men are realizing they need a DNA test regardless of marital status. And you bet your ass we are teaching our sons the same thing.
He just found out the baby isn't his.
I've been calling this girl all morning, bro. The papers just came in. I've been calling her all morning, dummy. Find out the baby not mine. What am I? Like, bro. This girl been playing in my face all morning, bro. All morning. You come drop the baby off with nothing. And it's just gonna ring out. Been calling her all morning, man. All morning, bro. I do everything for both of them, bro. Her and her mother. I take care of these girls, bro. I just got a new house, bro. I just moved. I uprooted my entire life for this.
She been on your ass about this shit.
To find out,
she did wrong, bro.
To find out the baby not mine, bro. To find out that the baby not mine, bro. And it's crazy, bro. It's out here who don't even know their child's name, let alone their birthdays, bro.
And look at this mess right here, man. This is pretty sad, but this is something that women has done since the beginning of time. And the only ones who really suffer from it is just the kids, because these babies ain't asked to come into this world with all this mess. I don't know why people don't take more steps to use protection. You know what I mean? Protect yourself from the woman getting pregnant. There's a lot of birth control options that women can take. I just don't understand it, but I do feel bad for the babies, man. This is, to me, that's the part that's sad.
I got to get inside and make my husband's lunch for tomorrow, but I was checking these comments and saw this one. What are your thoughts about treating paternity fraud as a serious crime instead of mandatory DNA tests at birth? Well, to be honest with you, I see no reason why women should not be held equally criminally accountable for fraud that men are for evading child support. But the problem with that is it'll never happen, because the state does not want to raise those children. They need her goofy ass to be raising up them kids, even if it costs them her housing and their free lunches and all of the shit that goes along with low income. That's still less expensive and less disruptive than having her behind bars. So the uterus is your get out of jail free card. Not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's probably how the state would look at it. Why would we jail these women and spend all this money and resources catching up to their dumb asses for lying about who the baby daddy is, when in the end, the state's just going to lose more money? Because they don't care about people. They don't care about kids. They don't care about dads. They don't care about justice. They just care about money.
Whoa! They ain't ready. They are not ready for this story. There's a bill out of Memphis, Tennessee that's being proposed for. It makes it mandatory for unmarried fathers to take DNA tests to sign birth certificates. You know what that means, fellas? That means that you ain't got to worry about, you're the father because I said so. What if I'm not the father? You ever thought about that? So what you're saying is that you're not going to take care of us? Oh, this is not your baby now? I wasn't with you for these past 2 years? I'm not saying you was with me for the last past years. I know that, but who else were you with? Oh, I see what you on. The only thing I'm on is to find out if this baby is mine or not. So, you know, there's a lot of guys that have lost out on so much time because they've been taking care of kids that were theirs. Not saying that it's not a problem to do so, but at least give me the right to know if that's my child or not.
Now, I'm not sure about this Tennessee bill. I'm hearing that it passed the House, but now it went to the Senate, where they just kind of never really passed it. It's still kind of on the floor. But I'm pretty sure men can get behind this movement the same way they got behind other movements and got stuff done. If feminist women can change laws and get things done, I'm sure we can too. Especially when we have congressmen and governors who are changing the laws regarding men. So even though a lot of these laws may not have went through yet, I think these laws are still going to point us into the right direction. But most importantly, these are the laws that men need to be fighting and telling their senators to push for. Women are the ones who are purposely going after men in the court, putting child support, trying to get these guys' driver license taken, putting them in jail. I just don't get it. If you steal $400,000 from a bank, you go to jail for at least 10 to 20 years. But what if you steal $400,000 via paternity fraud? And the courts is just like, oh, you know, don't worry about it. You know, it happens. She didn't know. Like why aren't these women being prosecuted for habitual fraud? Like, a lot of women didn't do it on just 1 or 2 children. They did it on multiple kids. Got all kind of men paying child support that they should not be paying child support for. Yes, they need to move very fast getting these bills passed too. We ain't got time to let them sit up in the Senate just going back and forth about it. Just go ahead and pass the freaking law. It's time to put an end to the extreme wickedness of false paternities. Okay, that's all I got for this one, guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to go over and check me out on my other channel at Datingwright Live. Like the video, drop a comment down below. I will see you in the next video.